Welcome to a special series of podcast discussions for the BC Construction Association with leaders from 5 sectors of the industry so pivotal to our economy and our well-being. I'm Kirk LaPointe, your host for this series of conversations on the life stories of these leaders and their insights about their industry. Our guest in this segment is Connie Krissler. She's the owner of Silver Springs Concrete Services in Kelowna. She's been the company's visionary and leader for over 25 years now and has participated in many of the region's most prominent developments, including the bridge on Okanagan Lake. Here's our conversation. Thanks for joining us, Connie. I guess we should always start at the beginning with these types of interviews and find out really what drew you to this particular line of work when you probably had lots of other options. What was about this one that drew you in?
Well, my father started the company in 1975, and so I'd been around it. It was a home-based company. It never actually grew out of the home base, so it's always been around the day-to-day. So the comings and goings of the concrete business was around me. There came a time where my father wanted to retire. He wanted to retire in the cusp, which meant leaving the city, and gave me the opportunity to partner up with my brother, and that ended up happening in 1994. We joined together as a force. It was a challenge, but it was an honor to work with my brother. It really was. It was an honor to try something new. I'm an outdoorsy person anyways, and that's where it all began.
You talk about it being your father's business, so you probably saw him at work a lot, maybe went with him to work a lot. What were the values you think that he instilled in you at that early age, and then later on as you decided that maybe this was also your journey?
Well, the values that he instilled in me was to work hard, be true to your word, be prompt. Concrete's a very time-sensitive item. There is no lollygagging. You really need to be on your game. Yes, I definitely have been out with my father. I've even been involved in the placing and finishing at a young age, just in the sense of running the power trowels when we were short-staffed. So it was a fairly familiar sight to me to be seeing the concrete trucks back up, screeding out the concrete to a nice level, and then watching the process of finishing into the evening. Often late nights, for sure.
Do you remember an incident or a period of time where then it became much more evident to you that this was where you were going to be led into work?
Oh, I think the one time where he left me with some large power trowels, he was just exhausted and he needed to run and look at another job site. My brother must have been on another job site, and I was left in charge. It happens to be the Safeway here in Kelowna that's been on Bernard forever. And I hopped on the power trowels and
Oh, yeah.
continued finishing until he came back. And I found that to be exciting. It takes concentration. It takes reading the surface. It was really a challenge that I enjoyed.
You drew that almost like a pre-career satisfaction out of seeing what it could be. Is it, how different is it in reality than maybe what you would see when you weren't exactly in it?
Well, my role has changed quite substantially since those times. I certainly was doing the dispatching, so I'm learning to order concrete, volumize concrete, give quotes out, go do pre-site visits with the team members to establish the crew size, the rate of flow. So there's been a lot that I've learned since then, along with the actual comings and goings of money in and money out. It is something that never ever do I feel I was bored or didn't have a new challenge. That part of it was the best. I have had other jobs, and once you've got your routine pat and you know what you're doing, each day sort of runs into the next day, where concrete, each day is a new day. And I love that part of concrete.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think it's wise for us to dwell on the negatives in all of this, or the difficulties, or just the obstacles, because you've had such an accomplished career over well more than a quarter century now. But as a woman in a pretty masculine field, there must have been some challenges along the way here. Talk to them now, and tell me a little bit about what kinds of experiences you had, how you were able to cope with it, maybe how difficult it was to cope with it, and then and help our viewers and listeners understand how the path is a little easier now, a little clearer now.
Yes, in the past, my gender and my stature was definitely something that people made assumptions to. And men are in the field. I hardly seen any women at all, other than office administration at that time. So no surprise that there's an assumption that we don't know what we're doing, or we're coming ill prepared. But honestly, it's men that actually taught me everything. It is that ability to watch, listen, and most of all, I think asking questions. Not all men were willing to give me the time of the day. I say to those people, don't take it personally, because honestly, those men that are willing are more than willing, because it is an oddity for a female to be in the industry and give you a little extra time than the average person, I would say. These days, it is certainly more seen as acceptable for a woman to be in concrete. I've hired concrete females, and we even work with concrete project managers that are female. It still is a male dominated world, but I do see the transition. And I think that men are finding that female had a value that's a little different than the male's version. We tend to be a little more detail orientated. We're probably a little more conscientious on the flow through, get every answer uh, answered, or every question answered, dot our I's, dot our T's. We know that we need to prove ourselves because we haven't been in that field, so we don't want to fail. And I would have to say it was that challenge that really drove me to rise in this industry, that very challenge.
Did you see yourself at a certain stage of being the person who is going to prove that women can quite easily work within this?
I was never looking to prove anything. What I was looking to do was to add value. So I did a lot of educating. I educated myself well past what I needed, well past. Because I liked concrete when I got into it, I realized there's so many different facets to it, that it's forever evolving. Even today, I'm still studying it and communicating with other people in the industry to get over challenges and hurdles. I truly think that concrete is one of those industries that you can't take anything personal. You really have as much challenge as you want to take on. If you want perfection in concrete, which is near impossible, there's always a better way. There's always a tweak that can be handled. And a lot of those times, those have come from observing and participating. Like any good trade, experience is our best teacher.
Stay with the idea, though, that you maybe were bringing something different to the workforce, to the organization, to the field, if you want. as a woman, as a female leader, and all that. What would you say have been the main differences that you provide that some of your male counterparts maybe don't provide in the same way?
Camaraderie is, I bring a lot of camaraderie to the team. As a female, I am noticed. That's for sure. When I get on site, I'm often thought that I'm some other professional. Um, so camaraderie is something that females do well, teamwork, organization, looking for each individual's traits and bridging the gaps between traits, recognizing their strong points and their weak points and encouraging them forward. Females are very supportive. Um, Even right down to their clothing and their food supply on large pours. It's more detailed with women. They just are nurturing and caring by nature, and I think I brought that forward. We've got a team that certainly appreciates that for sure, and we continue to um, do those things. And I think only females would do that because men are more likely to gather after the pour and, do their little tongue waggle and head on home. Where I'm in the midst of the pour, dropping the Gatorades off or bringing the new ice to cool it down or redirecting the ready mix truck while someone's busy fueling up. Um, I fill in the slots easily and joyfully.
Why then does the industry itself still have so few women leaders? Is it now just an inevitability that'll change, or is there something still structural you think that makes it much more difficult?
Well, I think what we will be requiring is a educational platform. I work with Skilled BC Trades, the Okanagan College of Trades, and Concrete Canada. We do job fairs and variety of things to promote. As far as a female go, I think really what they're thinking is that they're not physically able to do it. And that is simply not the truth. Technology has advanced where you used to screed with a board, 2x4, and screed it off. It's all upright now. Yes, you need to be physically fit and have some strength endurance, but there's many sectors in the concrete, such as the mechanical machines that now don't require you to actually have the weight to hold your power trowel into place. I have had women and they do a great job. They're light so that when it comes to decorative work, you can get on the concrete a little earlier. That's an advantage. They're a little more detailed on edging. They do it neater and tidier. There are
Nice.
definitely good points.
What do younger women ask you about this, and whether in trying to determine if it's right for them?
I suppose they're looking for job security. It is somewhat seasonal. The winter time when it's minus 30, we've got a bit of a problem. You ain't going to be pouring a lot of concrete on those days, and if you are, it's with a lot of hoarding and heating ahead of time, and even the concrete delivery is very challenging and getting it down the chutes. Um, what we find is if you are a person who will take on the extra hours through the peak season, that you make as much as someone that works all year round. So if you enjoy taking off in the winters and taking a sabbatical through January, February, or short vacations, I'm saying 2 to 3 weeks, before you know it, spring has sprung, and we never actually close our doors except for Christmas. We always have some work going through. It's just not the workload that you're used to. So if you get your work going through peak season and take advantage of those extra hours. It is a very sustainable career. We have many, many men that have sustained that career for years and years.
I've asked everybody in this series of conversations we're having for the podcasts about the pandemic. I mean, it was a unique event. It's not necessarily over yet, but most of the worst of it we think is over. How did you navigate it with your company?
We tried to respect each individual's opinion. I spent a lot of time being a counselor, which meant you need to respect that person's opinion. And if you can't respect that person's opinion, then please do not say anything. We, like all companies, at one point there was just my son, my brother, and my brother's son, my apologies. So family was the only one in the office at times, but it was a very short time. People got over it. We complied. We got all the items that are required to make everybody feel comfortable. And as long as I was continuing to sort of bridge the gap between the two divisions between being vaccinated and not vaccinated, as long as we bridge that gap. We had jobs where you had to be vaccinated, so we had a crew that was vaccinated, and then whenever a job came up that didn't require it, the crew that wasn't vaccinated got first choice. So we tried to job share through that process, and we lost no one out of it. Everyone seems to have made it past their differences.
But talk about that. You likely had to be a bit of a mediator, kind of a calming force, because we can only recall how much antipathy there was at times with people who were and weren't vaccinated. What were kind of your techniques on this one? What's your playbook?
Well, I have to say that I watched a lot of videos. I did call Workmen's Compensation or WorkSafe BC and asked for counseling. So the gist that I got is that we're evolving, and what you need to do is just go with the flow. Don't do anything of abrupt decision making. Slow and low. So you're right. Counseling, bridging the gap between differences of opinion, and trying to keep the waters calm. And that seemed to work well.
I think the question that pops up in every one of these conversations I'm having, as well as this, is what did you learn about yourself?
That I did play an important role between differences, and that my role was to keep a team together, and that was a very vital role. I see how some could have easily started pushing their weight around and maybe said things that you couldn't take back. I was very careful not to do that. And like I said, our entire team, as it was, is still in place, and we're back to normal.
I think I even asked this question a few times lately. Do you feel you're a better manager now?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. That challenge meant that I needed to firstly manage management. So management had the first parting of the ways, and the I guess disgruntled words, which then quickly dribbled down into the field staff. So it has made me a more patient person. It has made me one that does respect other people's views, regardless of my own. And that's a tough one as a owner operator, is to be able to flex.
Yeah. It, does it mean that your company now operates a little differently? Is the dynamic a little different? Is the culture changed?
It's actually brought us closer together. It's almost like having a bad fight in a marriage and then getting through that bad fight and then going, oh, we're all fine. We all made it. I think the synergy is actually better now. It really did bring conflict to the surface. It got resolved. We found a better way. And at tail end, I do truly feel that we have each other's back.
Yeah. You're not retiring this afternoon, but let's just say you were retiring this afternoon and people had gathered to celebrate you. And how would you like to be remembered? Have you figured that out yet?
Well, that's probably the toughest one. I'm a fairly humble person by nature, but I suppose I would want to be remembered as Concrete Connie, because I love concrete. I really do. Anywhere I go, I look at concrete. I go shopping with my girlfriends, and they can see you're always looking at the concrete. Yeah, I am. I'm also looking at that which the team put in, and I'm so proud. I really am. You drive around, you swim in a pool deck, you park in a driveway, you shop in a building, all where the team has poured the concrete. You've been out there, you've discussed the details. Every time that I see concrete that the team poured, it's just an ongoing sense of joy and success. So I would like to be remembered as Concrete Connie.
Do you ever go up to someone's place and ring the doorbell or knock on the door and say, by the way, that concrete we poured, we did that?
I have gone to many sites where various owners have been in, and I will say, well, I can tell you what color that concrete stamped work is. I've got the data. We kept impeccable records right back to 2007. We even have them before then, but they're on a different platform. So I'm pretty proud to say that we're well documented. Maybe that's a female thing, but each customer is an important customer. You need to be prepared and understand your business to do good business. And I would have to say the team does great work. So I best not fail them when I'm giving the details out because I want to set them up for success.
Well, we're doing this interview, of course, across the internet, but for a while there, we were only meeting and talking to each other across the internet in the pandemic. Has it restored your faith in going forward to have all of these in-person encounters again, have the relationships back where you get in a room together and talk about the plans, where you feel there's something a bit more tangible about it?
Yes, I have been in many Skype and Zoom conversations, even on pre-sites to large projects. And there's nothing like being on site. The questions just keep coming up. Unless you're walking that site with that superintendent, with that team, that's when you get, oh, but there's no access here for the power trowels, or oh, there's overhead lines over here. Let's park the boom pump there. There is many times that I thought we had everything completed. We turn around, we're walking back, and somebody says, "What about this?" That never happens on the internet meetings. It just doesn't. So I think in person, on site, when it comes to concrete, you need to feel it, touch it, see it.
Yeah. Well, in as much as we've had to settle for an online discussion here, I feel like we have been in the same room together for the last while. And you tell such great stories about your career, and congratulations about it. And there's more to come, obviously, but your accomplishments now have been really quite extraordinary in this field. So, Concrete Connie, thanks a lot for your time today.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the invitation, and all the best to everyone in the concrete world.
Thanks, Connie. I'm Kirk LaPointe. Thanks a lot for watching.